I'm Bruce Apar, and this is Frank J. Rich, and you're watching Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog. Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog is brought to you by Chase Media Group, publisher of The Penny Saver. And by the way, there's never been a better time to be a penny saver. And we also are a provider of multimedia marketing solutions for an omni-channel marketplace. And speaking of that, you can always catch all the previous episodes of Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog on our YouTube channel, Townlink TV, and also go to townlink.com to see an online business directory that now is, Frank, right, it's like 10,000 businesses we have, right, on townlink.com. And in the next weeks and months, you're going to see a lot of blogs on Townlink. And if you'd like to contribute a blog in a special interest that you have or expertise, please just email us at info at chasemediagroup.com. And Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog is a community affairs show where we feature people of interest to the community who are doing very special things in the community, making, in many cases, unique contributions that help you and help all of us. And our guest for this show that we're very happy to have is Donna Simone-Sofo of Yorktown Love in Action, right? Which you founded, Donna,
Yes.
right? I believe 2 years ago.
Yes.
And there's a lot of things that we can talk about with you because in talking with you, there's that expression, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person.
Yes.
And I didn't realize, in speaking with you to prepare for the show, all the things you do, it's quite impressive. Let's just cover a few of those things before we actually delve into Yorktown Love in Action. But you're a personal trainer, right? And you still teach classes, you were saying?
Yes.
Fitness classes?
Ballet and Pilates,
Right.
sculpting, yes.
Right. You're a CPR trainer to
Correct.
certify people. You're with the Mohegan Ambulance Corps.
Yes.
And then you were telling us you're a percussionist and singer with
Yes.
a local church. So, it's
She's
a
saying
lot
it
of
all
things
makes
going
me
on.
tired.
No, that's great, though. But it just goes to prove, I think, that even with the great contributions you made with Yorktown Love in Action, and we'll obviously get into describing that, you still seem to find time to do all these other things, which is a testament to one of Frank's passions, which is time management. Right?
Yes.
It's, so if you manage your time properly, right, there's sort of no limit to what you can do.
Right.
So why don't we just first talk about what Love in Action is and does, so people watching who are not familiar with it, I'm sure there's a lot of people who will want to contribute and take advantage of the services that you offer.
Okay. So Yorktown Love in Action, we accept families that they need to fill out an application. The application is brought to our board. The application needs to be approved by the board. And then these families that we accept, we help with medical bills, utility bills, food bills, things like that. These families are not on government assistance. They cannot be on disability. They're people like ourselves with homes and cars, and something drastic happens, such as maybe a death in the family, an illness, sickness, something beyond their control.
Right.
They go to the government for help, possibly, and there is nothing there for them. So that's when we come in. They're people that have been through the experience, so the death or the illness or whatever, and then they're getting back on their feet.
Right.
And then we come in and we try to help them with what the back bills and whatnot.
So at some point, just in your own personal experience, did you determine there was this cohort of people, sort of like as you're describing, in between, who did need assistance, but there were no social agencies?
It
or
happened to
government-
us.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, right.
Yeah, it happened to myself, and we were like, it's going to take so long to pull out of this, and my husband's a very hard worker. We pulled out of it,
Right.
but it's difficult, and there are families that have a very difficult time pulling out of it.
Right.
So that's where we come in.
And now you have 2 locations, as you call them, donation centers,
Yes,
right? One is in Yorktown on 202 in Parkside Corner.
Correct.
And you just opened one in early November opposite Cortland Town Center.
Yes.
Right. So that would suggest that there's obviously a growing need
Yes.
for the services you offer.
yeah. My intentions when I founded Yorktown Love in Action is to have one donation center in every town. That's what my goal is.
Right.
Very difficult because nobody makes a salary, so we need all volunteers to run the places, so it is a little bit difficult.
So you don't pull down the salary either?
No.
Yeah, it's all
no.
volunteer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everything is volunteer,
Right.
yes, yeah. Our families do volunteer for us. They volunteer in the donation centers and our fundraisers. Some of them do things for us at home, and they don't even realize, but I introduce them to each other, so they're there for each other to emotionally support.
help, yeah.
Yeah, but they don't know that each other are families.
Right.
It's
And we should
confidential.
mention that the Penny Saver, or at least the Chase Media Group corporate campus in Yorktown, is a drop-off
Yes.
center for Love in Action. And as Frank and I were just telling you, it's encouraging, and I mean, it's unfortunate that you need to do this, but it's encouraging that our receptacle is overflowing with donations, a lot
Yes.
of them from employees and from people who come in, local residents who come in. And so do you have other corporations or local businesses who do the same thing?
I wrote it down so I don't forget.
Yeah.
We have Yorktown Insurance Company right there on, is that?
Commerce,
That's on
yeah,
Commerce
right.
Street. We have the Cartridge
Right,
World,
Cartridge
that's
World,
also
yeah.
right around the corner. Better Homes and Garden Realtor.
Sure, yeah.
Yorktown Vineyard Community Church.
Right.
Rifkin Dental. Energy Movement Center, that's in Peekskill.
Peekskill, sure. Yeah.
And Adrenaline Gym.
Right.
I think that's it for now. Wait, let me check here. Yep, and then of course Chase Media Group.
Right.
These are all, we have boxes, drop-off boxes,
Yes.
so to speak.
Yep.
And you manage them by volunteers going around picking those things up on
Yes.
some periodic basis?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's something I wanted to talk about a little bit with you, Donna, which is you obviously have a need. I mean, it's run as a business, even though you have all non-salaried staff and they're all volunteers. But part of the whole point of Love in Action, right, you were telling me, is that once you cover your own operations overhead, you donate money to the families who signed up.
Yes.
Right?
Now, I want to make that clear because we don't give the families cash. We don't hand them
Money,
cash. Right. We take their bills. We write the check to the company, whether it's a doctor, hospital,
Okay,
utility
sure.
bill.
Right.
If we need to buy food for them, sometimes I go food shopping with them, and we'll pay the bill right there. Sometimes we give them a food gift card. Same thing with medications at CVS. Either write the check directly to CVS for them to pick up their medications, but the cash is not handed directly to them.
Right. And as with a business, you need to develop various revenue streams, right?
Yes.
As much as you can. So you were telling us that when you go to pick up, let's say, a piece of furniture or something that requires heavy lifting, literally heavy lifting, you found a way to, help cover the expense of that as well.
Right, to generate more monies for our truck, the insurance for the
Right.
truck, the gas. So what we do is we ask for a donation fee to
Right.
pick up the items. And it's anywhere from $20 to $40. It's a minimal fee.
Right, and you're saying how encouraged you were that when you had trepidation about asking
Yes.
people who are already donating an object, then donate money, and
Yeah.
yet nobody blinked.
No,
right?
people
Nobody
are
blinked.
so
Yeah.
awesome. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, I would love to.
Right.
And then, sometimes I'll ask for 20 and they'll give me 30 or 40, And so people are just such a blessing in this area.
And something I just wanted to read on your website, and we would encourage people to go to your website, YorktownLoveAndAction.com.
Yes.
But it's very spiritual in terms of the language you use to describe, the sentiment and the premise that's behind Yorktown Love and Action. And just a couple of things I pulled out. It says, it is Donna's dream to see the whole community reaching out to one another, caring, giving, and loving each other. She lives by the truth, love your neighbor. And then quote is attributed to you. Love for our neighbor should flow naturally from the love we have within our heart. These are things I don't think any decent person could disagree with. Are you a religious person? You definitely are spiritual.
Yes, I am. I believe in the Lord, and I couldn't have done this without my Lord. I just couldn't have. He led the way for me, and even with the second donation center, I wasn't looking for a second donation center. It just kind of like happened, and I said to my husband, like, it all just fell into place,
Right.
and I could have never done that.
Right.
So it was definitely the Lord that did it for me.
And you have, we should describe this because it seems to be a centerpiece of what you do and how Love and Action operates, the Heart of Faith and how that works. And then you were just telling me how you had a benefactor who came in who was extremely generous.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you can describe for the audience how the Heart of Faith works and how somebody can come into one of the donation centers and actually select a family without knowing who the family is.
Right. So we have businesses that put these 6-foot hearts, they're wooden hearts, they put them in their place of business, and on the big heart are tiny hearts, and on the heart, the tiny heart will be a person's name, which we don't use, like for instance, let's say it's myself. So my name is Donna. I would give myself a stage name. So I would call myself Debbie, in other words.
Right.
So we would write Debbie, age 5, female, needs winter top, size 6. And then people that are come to see these hearts, they take the heart off, they go purchase the item, they bring the little heart, tape it to the gift, bring it back to the business. And then our volunteers go to these businesses and pick up the items, and then we distribute it to the families.
Right.
Now, this gentleman comes into my donation center on Route 6 a couple of days ago, and he says, I would like to sponsor a family. And I was like, oh my God, like I never really thought about having people sponsor whole families, Threw down $500 check for me to buy oil for the family, and went and bought $100 gift cards for, I believe there's 5 children, bought a $100 gift card for each of the children to Walmart. So what a blessing was that, $1,000 to give to that family for the holiday season.
Wow, yeah, that's something, yeah.
Yeah.
And of
So
course-
that's what I'm looking for now. It makes it easier for me, and it reassures that whole family is going to be taken care of for the holiday season. So I'm
Right.
looking for sponsors to come in. And the other thing that I want to say, Bruce, some people aren't going to have $1,000, but if you have $50
Right.
to buy a child a coat or boots, or even the parents. These parents, like I'm sure we've all been there at one time, where you buy something for your child instead of yourself, right?
Yeah, sure.
So that's what these parents are doing,
Right.
So for somebody to come up to me and say, well, I would like to sponsor one of the parents to buy them shoes or sneakers or a coat, that would even be
Right.
awesome.
And that's another thing you say here is, let us not be so selfish and self-centered as to forget our neighbors, our friends, our family, and what you're saying here is how parents, in that regard, are selfless. It's the kids
Yes.
first.
Right.
I don't need it; they need it.
Right,
It's
exactly.
It's that type of thing.
Right.
And then, so people donate clothing. There's a lot of clothing articles you list on your website that you need or would like to have more of, and then people come in and buy. Right?
Yes.
From the donation centers.
Yes.
And so how does it work? How do you figure out the pricing, what you price it at?
So the clothing, very inexpensive. Our tops are $1 to maybe $3. We have coats there from maybe $5 up to 20, or pants are anywhere from $1 to $5. Everything is very, very low price, so that everybody can afford it. And I do want to mention this because it's not only clothing; it's clothing, linen, blankets. We need blankets.
Blankets.
We're short on blankets.
Right.
Drapery, rugs, anything you can think of. That's material. You
Right,
know,
yes,
hats, gloves,
right.
mittens,
Right, okay.
scarves. But what we do is when people bring us the items, we sort through it and we take only the best of the best, and we put those in our donation centers.
Okay.
So when you come in, you're not going to find, hopefully, sometimes something gets by us, but you're not going to find anything stained, torn, ripped.
Right.
Buttons are on, zippers are working, you know.
Right.
And the other items we take and we sell to recycle place.
Okay.
So even though maybe your item that you give us isn't staying here in the community, the money that we make from the item is staying in the community.
Right.
So we sell those items to the recycle place, they pay us, and then the money goes for our families.
Yeah. And you know, one of the things, especially lately, we've been promoting at Chase Media Group and the Penny Saver and Town Link is, as a lot of other communities, shop local. So
Yes.
now it's sort of like donate local as
Right.
well. And there is that whole element of, you know, as I like to put it, keeping the cash flowing within your own community.
Correct.
You know, that type of thing. And then so if somebody came in and saw an item, you know, it was priced at, I don't know, $10, and they said, I'd love to have this, but $10, I don't know. I mean, what do you, how do you work with
you
that?
know, we do bargain with them. What we say is, you know, you can kind of tell the person that really needs the break and the person that just wants to kind of get over on you, you know. And we explain to them we need the money, you know, to pay for bills. So by no means do I want anybody to leave that store the
With
donation.
nothing,
Yes, you know, I if they need something, I want them to have it. We had a family that came in, I want to say maybe that was last month, and you know, you see them, they were looking at a couch, it was, and they had a coat in their hand. Anyway, long story short, I can tell they couldn't afford it, you know. And I went up to the mom and I asked her to come in the back to talk with me, and we had a short little conversation. I was like, no problem. Called my husband, like, could you deliver the couch to the lady? She needs a couch. They're sitting on the floor. So we didn't charge her at all. We delivered the couch to her, didn't charge her to, you know, deliver the couch or anything. And then the coat, she said, well, I want to pay for the coat. I said, well, do you have money, you know, to pay for the coat? She says, I have $5. I'm like, well, you have $5. What are you going to do?
If you give it to me.
Yeah, you know. So we gave her the coat, you know. But if you have the money to pay for something, we need the money to pay the bills for our family and our overhead, of course.
So it's interesting, though, because you're saying that you have to, or maybe you have to be able to, and you learn to read human nature or human behavior. And like you said, you know, if somebody really needs it or is just, you know, is haggling.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
But as you're saying, within reason, you will haggle, right?
Right.
If people
Yes, I
come
will.
in.
Yes.
So are you discouraging bargain hunters or in favor of those who have real need, or are bargain hunters welcome as long as they pay the price?
Yeah, bargain, well, yeah, everybody is welcome. You know, I'm not going to turn anybody away. And I even have what we call wholesalers, okay? We have a couple of people that they make their living from flea markets. They go to flea markets.
Right.
So rather than, and this kind of caught on with this one particular person I'm thinking of, because she kept like trying to say she was buying these pants, I think it was, for her family. I'm like, well, how many people are in your family? You know, like I sold you last week 20 pairs cheaper and the week before that, and you know, and I was like, this is not, you know, come in my office again, you know. And we sat down and we had a conversation, and she was honest with me, and she said that that's the way she makes her living. She sells at flea markets, and it's hard for her to find items to sell because she has to keep her prices low as well. No problem.
Right.
Let's work out a deal. Just don't lie to me. I don't like people lying to me and
Right.
trying to get over on me.
Right.
You know. So now we have this deal, and she comes in and she buys what I call wholesale.
Yeah, it would
Right,
seem to
yeah.
me that, if I may, that the need, the critical need to distinguish between those who are aligned with your ethic in the opportunity to make a contribution to those less fortunate, puts you in a difficult position. It may be a position in which you have to make a judgment. And in the statements that you have here, it says that that you were formed out of love and be guided to help others, and let's do that for those who are less fortunate than we, as a result of sickness, death, injury, abuse, separation, acts of nature, or any other cause beyond their control. So right there, just that statement, beyond their control, is a qualifier, and it requires a judgment. What is beyond someone's control? That would be a place I'd like not to be in, to judge whether or not someone has had control over the conditions or situation that they're in at the moment.
Right.
And how do you reconcile that? What is it that, not the nuance in which you measure the intent of human behavior, so to speak, because, you know, as you know well, you can't know the heart of another person.
Right.
So how is it that you walk that fine line, so to speak, without becoming a judge and executioner, so to speak? Yeah.
Well, you know, what I say is, if I'm not quite sure, then I go, you can have it. It's between you and God.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
and
interesting.
that's how I leave it. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're prepared then to walk away from a situation in which you really do put yourself in a position of judging things. So you're prepared to walk away from that. And
Yes.
what's at risk only is someone's good conscience.
I was just going to say,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yes.
was going to say, like, the way you described that, it's like saying
it's-
it's on your conscience.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's not
Right,
the couch or
Right,
the,
right.
or the
Yeah.
clothing. And you, in order to mitigate that, to bring people to an alignment with your ethic, the founding ethic, you take the opportunity to speak to people about what you are doing and how they might help you. You encourage them in that way, so to speak.
Yes.
So you will say to them, look, there are people in real need.
Yes.
If you're a person who has more than you need and you're inclined to help those who have sincere need, that's what I'd encourage you to be thinking about in this moment. I
Right.
mean, is that the...
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
We have had, if you want to say, like a hard time with a couple of people. And I got to say, God is so good, because those people, the next time they came in, I'm thinking of 3 in particular, the next time they came in, a complete turnaround.
Interesting.
And you know, and that's what I feel like it's all about, because they saw the love that we were giving them,
Yeah.
you know, and then they came back with a completely different attitude.
Well, it's a very interesting concept, and I mean, the practical elements of this, which Bruce has covered nicely for you, are important, because people need to know how to approach your organization and how to prepare themselves for qualification if they have real need, how to overcome the sense of embarrassment over it, as it were, you know, because we are all, you know, prideful in some
Right,
at some
absolutely.
level. There is this other side of it, which is the you know, the foundational ethic. There's the love and the hope and the faith. Is there foundational ethic in Scripture that you use that helps people appreciate or understand where you're coming from?
You know, I think I put it in there. Just love your neighbor.
Right.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
right.
So you're taking from the commandment of Jesus
Yeah.
Christ
Yeah.
to love your neighbor as yourself. Is that
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's you can go that far, go beyond it, whatever it is. But if that's what it is, then that's great. It's a wonderful thing. What it has done for you, it appears, is help you to see people through God's eyes. It appears to me in listening to you, and not through the eyes your own, and the eyes of others.
Correct.
Why? Because you say people are wonderful in the community. Well, this is a very monetarily charged community. People People in the Westchester area tend to be wealthier than most other areas of the country. They tend to take a lot of things for granted. Recently in Westchester Magazine there was a profile of the Westchester resident, and it was more complimentary than I expected it to be, but it was uncomplimentary in a number of ways. I've been personally in conversations and heard people say, well, that they are proud to be in Westchester because the taxes are higher here than any place else, and isn't that special?
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Yeeks.
Yeah. Exactly. So if you look across the country at the culture of this nation, it's a debtor nation at the moment. It's a nation, businesses which a very small percentage of carry 75% of the equity in stock or value across the country, and a very large percentage have a very small percentage of that equity. It's a predator culture. It's people taking advantage of other people. And you're flying in the face of all of that. You have an antipodal logic which applies to a community in need. A community in need is not something that most Americans even relate to. They relate to it when they come face to face with it at a distance. That's why we can develop so much money for Haiti when we can text $10 over an email or a text message, a mobile message. But to come face to face with it is difficult. To walk into a soup kitchen, to sit next to someone who has not been bathed for a week or two, and have breakfast because you've asked for people to join under the circumstances. That's not a common experience. It's one that you have some pause over. You have overcome that somehow by some power that is in us all, but which is not communicated easily. What is that like? How do you do that?
Yeah, this will have to be the wrap up. So
Okay. Well, then just very quickly, I was a single mom. My children grew up with just their mom, and there were just so many people, including my family, that were there for us, emotionally, money. I remember my sisters, my brother, bringing us food sometimes because we didn't have food to eat, and appliances, and whatnot. So I was very fortunate to have great friends and family around me. So I guess I just what's that saying? Pay it forward, right?
Yes, pay it forward. Yeah. Right.
So I guess that's what it is. And I always loved the Lord and had the Lord in my life, and my children were brought up with Him.
Right.
Yeah.
That was their daddy.
It's very, for a number of reasons, we want people to go to your website, yorktownloveinaction.com, but one of them is because of the sentiments like that you have throughout the website, which are,
Thank you.
People should never stop wanting to be inspired by, somebody like yourself, actually, and what you believe in and what you practice and what you've achieved. And just in closing, I just want to refer to one of the comments, is that it's for as long as you can remember, you've been volunteering and helping people.
Yes.
So, and that's, as we said at the beginning, that's what this show is all about. So you're a great role model.
Thank you.
For people watching.
Thank you.
And the other line in here that really is right in line with what we're trying to do on the Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog is, you say very simply, feel a sense of community, and that's what we want this show to be. Is just it's all about community and people in the community who make it more livable. Really, and that's what it's all about. So thanks very much,
Thank you.
Donna Simone-Sofo, for being with us. Yeah, you've been a great guest.
Thank you. God bless you.
And as the credits roll, thanks for watching Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog. And again, it's yorktownloveinaction.com. And I mean, all year round you should be thinking of others, but especially at holiday time, everybody knows there is no better time to help other people. So, and remember, when Bruce the Blog listens, people talk. Thank you, and happy holidays.